Joyville was the name of a children's camp. All of the employees and children who attended it at a certain point vanished mysteriously. One child who attended Joyville prior to that event is now a fully grown adult, and they want to know what happened there. So they decide to step foot in the now years abandoned complex of Joyville once again. The protagonist breaks in from one of the rusty exit doors. The interior is a cold and desolate shell of what this play place used to be. There's an office close by, and upon entering, shows 4 security cameras still live showcasing empty rooms around the building. The rooms are pretty generic and nothing out of the ordinary. Although, how is this footage still live, and why did nobody take the equipment away? Or at least clean the place up a bit after it was shut down? Directly in front of the exit door on a bench is a newspaper article ominously lying in wait for somebody to enter and read it. It tells of the founder of Joyville. It says he was arrested for abducting children years ago, and that by the time of his arrest, there was nobody in the building, children included. Right next to that is a video camera in a nearby storage room. The footage is narrated from a man trapped inside the facility. He looks to be hiding behind some boxes. He's scared and shaking. Something's wrong with this scene. It's dark. He says everyone vanished and he's the only one left. He's talking about some sort of creature he saw and how the way it looks defies reality. It has eyes inside its mouth. He points his camera at a cracked doorway as he hides. As he is summarizing his fears, the being that he spoke of juts into the frame. It's obscured by a dark shadow, but it looks wide, large, and almost fuzzy. It struts towards the man, and he screams as the camera falls to the ground and shudders. The protagonist is not letting these discoveries shake their will, however. They continue their search around dusty boxes and unused play equipment. Before leaving the way they came in from, they check the security cameras one last time. And the worst case scenario happened. Something's missing from before. There was a dark yellow mascot facing one of the corners in the rooms before, and now it's gone. Something is in here with them. Wanting to leave this camera room quickly, the protagonist finds an elevator close by and uses it. Thankfully, it still has power, so they're able to ascend a floor upward. In a room down a colorful hallway, another tape is found, and it sounds like the same man from before. He says his name is Ethan Jenkins, and he tells that something bad has happened to Joyville. A small alarm blares over the building. Ethan talks about a bear with a tech chip in it, and he says that he can't reveal what it does exactly, but it is the key to opening doors, as well as doing other things that allow access to other parts of the building. The tape was right by the bear that was spoken of, coincidentally. The protagonist heeds the advice of Ethan and brings it with them. They use it to make their way through a padlocked door and into the central compound of the playground. The once ancient room sparks to life upon their arrival. An entrance trailer plays on a big TV. It tells of how fun Joyville is for kids and what an exciting time awaits them. Before the video is able to finish, however, a red-eyed black monster interrupts the broadcast on the screen, and the TV goes black. There are notes from kids who attended the play place on a corkboard that tell of what a great experience it was, including one from Ethan himself. There's not too much out of the ordinary, besides lots of colorful contraptions and slides. Exactly what you'd expect from a place for entertaining children. It seemed like half a theme park and half a daycare. Some of the doors were locked around here. Looking for a way through, the protagonist decides to try some of the games, hoping they might be the trigger. One of the games involves a flower that lights up with different colors. The protagonist has to align the colors with where the petals land, but as they're going about it, an orange worm animatronic attached behind it moves. What just happened? It almost seemed alive for a moment. After selecting the correct color one last time, the worm moves again. This time opening its mouth, bearing large white fangs stitched upon its lips. That was the last cue the protagonist needed to leave through the door beside it and away from the room. It managed to open, and whatever that thing was will not be following them. Another dimly lit, vibrant hallway lines the path in front of them, though there's a hole with wooden planks on the ground. The protagonist walks slowly over the planks to get to the other side, but the ground gives way as the planks break. They lose consciousness for just a moment as they wake up in the dark of a concrete basement level underneath the play place. After brushing themselves off, in the darkness, they see another one of those worm monsters. This time, it's purple and much larger than the one attached behind the flower machine. It's clearly sentient, and there's nothing down here but empty concrete walls. It's moving all on its own. Its head peers around a corner, stalking the protagonist, and then pulls away once it's noticed. Directly after that encounter, another similar red-colored worm does the same at the end of another hallway. It hasn't been long, but whatever took the kids and employees, it's getting much more likely to assume that it wasn't human beings. The protagonist is stuck down here with those things, and they need to get back. They use the bear with the tech chip inside it to access new paths. There's even a charging station that works for the bear down here. Who created this device, and why was the chip hidden inside a teddy bear? Who was it hidden from? It's the only solace that's making escape possible right now, so the details don't matter, but it still is a mystery. Tattered posters and signs litter these back hallways underneath the building. Nobody's been down here for a long time. A wooden doored elevator is able to creakily bring the protagonist back to the first floor. It's a new sector with much larger neon walls and ceilings here. Something turns the lights off quickly as the protagonist approaches some doors. Using their flashlight, they find little drawings of the colored worms they've seen around so far. It looks like they were part of the mascots here. Abandoned animatronics now moving on their own. Many of the doors are inaccessible, but an open slide allows the protagonist to backtrack to the central room of the camp. It's the same area where the orange worm was before. They made it back, and one of the doors isn't shut anymore. They walk toward the darkness of the newly opened hallway. It's too dark to see ahead. Does it lead down? A huge yellow monster bursts out of the dark in a flash, flying toward the protagonist with open arms and fangs. They run quickly away from the beast as fast as possible. Making a break for the slide they came down, they crawl back in, hoping the monster won't be able to fit. The beast catches up and looks into the slide. It's the same one Ethan spoke of in his tape. It looks with piercing demonic eyes toward the protagonist cowering in the slide. Silence breaks for a moment as it slinks away out of view. Not wanting to lose the chance given to them, the protagonist leaves the slide and makes their way toward the newly accessible area. Through the dark hallway is a ball pit playground. There's a very large door at the back of the ball pit room. It looks like it leads to the back of the building. After some trials and tribulations, the protagonist is able to open the door to get further inside the building. The gate makes way to some stairs leading down into a commercial facility at the back. There's broken gray tiles and lights hanging down from up above. The hallways look industrial and unfinished. A ceiling shutter falls down from an opening blocking the way forward. Taking the other path to the right, the same thing happens as another shutter comes down. With no other choice, the protagonist turns back the way they came. Balls from the ball pit are trickling down the steps as they look back, however. Tons of them slowly roll down the staircase back. It's disconcerting, but there's nothing else they could do. The protagonist begins walking up the steps, and as they approach the room, the yellow beast sprints into view. It didn't even make a noise. It must have hid and waited for this moment. It bursts down the stairs as the protagonist runs back down toward the shutters. They're doomed. Every way was blocked. After booking it around the corner, one of the shutters miraculously is opened. They don't know why or what did it, but they sprint through and down the back of the building. Every monochrome hallway looks like it leads to locked doors and cut off paths. On a side route, there's an open hole in a wall that looks like it leads into a sewer system. The protagonist makes an in-the-moment decision and leaps down into the green waste below them. The sewer tunnel continues toward another locked door, which the protagonist is able to bypass into an underground room with a service elevator. They run in and place the bear as a battery for the elevator to run. It works, and the steel blast doors close behind them. Looking back, the yellow monster has caught up and is grabbing the metal doors with his claws, but it's not enough, and the elevator ascends. The chase is over with, and the air is filled with calm for just a moment. Hopefully, this will lead toward the surface and the protagonist's safety. The bear in place of the battery of the elevator depletes down to 0%, and the entire contraption stops. Right as this occurs, the yellow monster comes wailing from up above and lands on top of the cage. It falls off from the bumpy landing, but the elevator can't take the weight of the creature, and it falls into the blackness below right behind it. And that concludes Joyville. This was the promo game of the series, so I assume the next will be longer. This one was around 30 minutes long, so not a lot of story to cover just yet out of the gate. It's looking like it's going to follow the footsteps of Garten and Banban with its releases, and for those who want to play it themselves, it's $9.99 on the Steam store right now. There are more game stories like this of indie games covered on the channel, so go check them out, and feel free to like and subscribe while you're at it. It helps us out a lot. But thank you for watching all the way through if you did, and I will see you in the next one.